Hey guys, in today's video I'm going to talk about the advantages of having a fully remote business, specifically a fully remote local business, and also some disadvantages with this business model. So what's a remote business? A remote business is one that you can manage from anywhere in the world completely. And traditionally people think about remote businesses, things like Amazon FBA, e-commerce, digital marketing. These are things which are traditionally remote, right? You think you can work on it from anywhere in the world because you have a laptop. The problem with these types of businesses is that they're hyper competitive. People who are doing Amazon are around the world, meaning competing against the entire world. Same with drop shipping, e-commerce, digital marketing. It's a highly competitive market to get into just to be remote. Here's the secret is if you pick the right business model, you could have a local business and make that completely remote. Why local business? Number one, competition is less, right? You're only competing against your local market, not the entire world, meaning it's much easier to compete, much easier to rank, and much easier just to beat them. The second biggest reason is that competition is really not that great. If you try calling your top 10 competitors on Google for, let's say, a cleaning company, you'll find that half of them don't even pick up the phone. And maybe you've had this experience when you're trying to find a local service provider for your home. It's very, very tough to get a hold of these people. Customer service isn't great. A lot of these competitors are years behind in terms of customer service and marketing, so you can dominate that local competition. So when you bring those two aspects together, I call this a remote local business, which is a local business which you can manage from anywhere in the world and reap the benefits of both sides of it. So I'm going to talk about some advantages and disadvantages of this type of business model. And remember, this business model is not for everyone. Also, not every single type of local business can work like this. For example, if you have like a local video rental store like my parents did, clearly you can't run this remotely. If you are a personal trainer, you can't do that remotely unless you're trying to do some sort of online class. So there's some specific business models which are better suited for this than others, right? Some which I like are home services, for example, where you could go straight from your cleaner's home or technician's home to the job site. They don't have to report to an office, nothing like that. So I'm going to go and talk about some quick advantages now of having a fully remote local business. Number one advantage is you can work from wherever in the world you want to, right? So as I record this video, I'm actually currently posted up in Uganda in East Africa while my Los Angeles cleaning company is still running. Been around since 2013 and been working remotely for over 7 years now. So it's very, very possible to have a local business while being completely remote. And with that location independence, there's a few benefits that come from that. Number one, cost of living. In most places around the world, it's much cheaper than in the United States to live, meaning you have that arbitrage, right? And the cost of living is much less in other places. And it's also fascinating, right? You're experiencing a different culture, living somewhere else. So you actually save a lot of money that way and can reinvest that in your business. So location freedom is a very big advantage of having a remote type lifestyle. Second one is having a remote team, right? So if you have a business which is not solely dependent on one market, you could have your office staff at least be around the world. So how it works for my business, which is MaidThis and MaidThis franchise, the cleaners of course are local, right? Cleaners go straight from their home to the job site. However, the office staff, operations, sales, scheduling, everything like that, they're around the world across 8 different countries. The benefit of this is you could select what countries might be best suited for that type of role and also recruit talent from everywhere in the world that you want to. It's a huge, huge competitive advantage because now I have people from 8 different countries working on a local business based in California. How crazy is that? So it's a huge benefit of that. There's also a lot of cost savings involved with that as well. Everything is remote as well, so you don't have too much overhead. You don't have to get a lot of office equipment, supplies, vehicles, things like that. So a lot of your overhead is limited, meaning higher profit margins for you as well. So in my opinion, those are the 3 top advantages of having a remote local business. Number one, you could be free in terms of location and figure out wherever you want to travel to, live there, post up there, save a lot of money there. Number 2, you can have a remote team. And number 3, less overhead, meaning higher profit margins for yourself as well. Next, I'm going to go into some disadvantages. As much as I'd like to paint the picture that this is great, there are certain things you need to think about when you have a local business which you manage remotely, which are disadvantages of this model. I'm going to go to them right now. Number 1, quality control, right? Since you were not there, it is a little bit more difficult to manage the people or the labor who are going to the homes in the case of a cleaning business model or any home service business model. It's very tough to manage quality. There's systems and controls you can put into place. However, I think there is always some sort of sacrifice on quality. If you or someone in a high-level management position cannot be there all the time to watch what's going on, right? So quality does suffer. This could lead to slightly higher churn rate, meaning customers who are canceling. maybe more complaints if you're not able to manage that well. I do believe there's ways you can mitigate that. Maybe having one part-time local manager there and everything else is remote. There's ways around it, but that is something you need to think about, is the quality might suffer based off of that. Number two disadvantage of having a completely remote business is culture building is just harder, right? Everyone is remote. You're messaging on Slack or whatever app you're using, and it's kind of hard to catch tone, kind of hard to actually make a connection with someone. That water cooler talk, it's kind of gone, right? You're just on Slack doing your work, and maybe that's what you want in the company culture. Just everyone gets in, gets their stuff done, and gets out. But I believe in a remote company, you have to work twice as hard to build that company culture. Sometimes it's very tough, right? So you need to work harder, doing virtual happy hours, virtual hangouts, more meets instead of just texting. That will help with the culture a bit more, but there is a sacrifice on culture. In my mind, if you have a fully remote operation, it's something you need to actively overcome. The last disadvantage of having a fully remote local business is you can't get as involved with community building. With community building, meaning like, let's say you sponsor soccer games in your community, or you do outreach or go to the local chamber of commerce. If you're not physically there, it's a little bit harder for people to make that face-to-face connection with you and build up networking that way, right? I think all of these disadvantages can be overcome. And in my opinion, I think the advantages far outweigh the disadvantages. However, it is something to consider, because like I said at the beginning of the video, a remote type of business is not for everyone. You have to understand that you're going to sacrifice on a few things. There's some disadvantages, but there's a lot of advantages as well. Thank you guys for listening. If you're looking for a fully remote local business, which is already 100% systemized for you, you don't have to do anything besides run it, check out MaidThis franchise. Click the link below, subscribe to the channel. It's the first and only Airbnb cleaning franchise that exists. Fully remote, low cost, low overhead. Check it out if you're looking for a remote local type of business.